Every day, you wake up with the hope that things will be different. Yet somehow they're not. The same conflicts resurface. The same heartbreaks replay, and the same mistakes haunt you like an unwelcome ghost. It's as though life is caught in a loop, endlessly repeating its most painful chapters. There's a moment in everyone's life when they stop and ask themselves, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I end up in the same kinds of relationships with different people? Why do I sabotage opportunities right before they succeed? Why do I feel like I've already lived this moment? Like I'm stuck in a loop I can't break. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is not just philosophy, it's a diagnosis. A mirror held up to your life, and if you look closely, you might begin to see something terrifying and freeing. You're not cursed, you're patterned, and the real enemy isn't out there, it's in here. What the shadow wants. Jung believed the human psyche is divided, not in a simple good versus evil sense, but in a more complex dance between light and dark, known and unknown. At the core of this division is what Jung called the shadow. The shadow is made of everything you've rejected about yourself. Everything you've denied, buried, or hidden because it was too painful, too shameful, or too much for the world around you to accept. But here's the catch. The shadow doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It waits, it watches, and then it acts without your permission. That's how patterns begin. You keep choosing partners who mistreat you, not because you want pain, but because your shadow remembers a time when pain felt like love. You keep self-sabotaging just when things go well, not because you're weak, but because part of you doesn't believe you deserve success. You repeat the mistake not because you're stupid, but because you're trying desperately to resolve a wound that hasn't been healed. The shadow isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying to be seen. The wound beneath the habit. Imagine a child who grows up in a home where love is conditional, where affection is given only when they perform, only when they're quiet, only when they're useful. That child learns a message. I am only lovable when I am perfect. Fast forward to adulthood, and that same person now works themselves to the bone. They chase success. They seek praise. But no matter how much they achieve, they feel hollow. And when they fail, even a little, they crumble. This is not random. It's not weakness. It's an emotional blueprint. You may not remember the exact moment your wound formed, but you live out its effects every day. It's behind your fear of vulnerability, your fear of rejection. Your need to please, your need to control, and until you trace your pattern back to its origin, you'll be stuck replaying it again and again, hoping for a different ending that never comes. The false self. To survive, we all construct a mask. Jung called this the persona. The version of ourselves we present to the world. It's polite, it's functional, it's socially acceptable. But it's also not you. It's who you had to become in order to be accepted, praised, and protected. The problem is, the longer you wear the mask, the more you forget there's someone underneath. And the person underneath, the real you, is full of contradictions. Full of confusion, full of pain, but also full of life. When you make choices from your persona, you're choosing what's safe. When you act from your shadow, You're choosing what's familiar. And that's why you keep making the same mistakes. You're not choosing from your true self. You've forgotten what that even feels like. The mirror test. How do you break the cycle? How do you stop repeating the same failures, the same heartbreaks, the same self-inflicted wounds? You start by looking in the mirror, not just at your reflection, but at your reactions. Jung believed our strongest emotional reactions reveal our deepest wounds. So ask yourself, what triggers you more than it should? What kind of person instantly makes you angry or insecure? What do you judge harshly in others? These are not random annoyances. They are clues. They point to parts of yourself you haven't accepted, parts you projected onto others. The person who frustrates you may simply embody the traits you've disowned in yourself. The anger isn't about them. It's a mirror. Why insight isn't enough. Now here's the trap many people fall into. They become aware of the pattern, and they think that's enough. They say, "Oh, I see it now. I know why I act this way. I had a tough childhood. I'm just wired like this." And then they keep doing the same thing, because insight without integration is useless. Understanding the pattern is only the beginning. You have to feel it. You have to grieve it. You have to rewire it. Not in your head, but in your body, in your nervous system, in the way you respond to real people in real life. That means slowing down, observing, making new choices. Over and over again, the courage to confront. Breaking a pattern requires more than willpower. It requires courage. Courage to sit with discomfort. To feel shame without shutting down. To be vulnerable without controlling the outcome. And above all, to confront the very things you've spent your whole life avoiding. That confrontation is terrifying, but it's also the threshold of real change. Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." You don't become free by running from the past. You become free by facing it and choosing something new. Rewriting the story. So how do you stop repeating your mistakes? You rewrite the story, but not by erasing the past. You rewrite it by changing your role in it. Instead of being the victim of your childhood, you become the one who understands it. Instead of being the product of your trauma, you become the one who transforms it. This doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means finding meaning in the pain. Because once you understand the lesson, the pattern no longer controls you. You make conscious choices. You respond instead of react. You stop chasing the familiar, and you start creating the life you actually want. The slow return to wholeness. Healing isn't a straight line. It's slow, messy, uncomfortable. You will fall back into old habits. You will be tempted to shut down, to numb out, to repeat. But each time you notice it, you create a gap. And in that gap, there is power. The power to pause, to breathe, to choose differently. Wholeness doesn't mean perfection. It means integration. Bringing your shadow into the light, letting your true self, the one behind the mask, finally speak. And when that happens, your past no longer defines your future. You become someone new, not by escaping your mistakes, but by understanding why you made them. Final reflection. Carl Jung never promised that transformation would be easy, but he did promise it would be meaningful. You keep repeating the same mistakes because something in you is still trying to work them out. Still trying to heal. still trying to be seen. So the question is no longer, why does this keep happening to me? The real question is, what is this trying to teach me? And when you ask that, with honesty, with humility, you begin the journey Jung spoke of. Not a journey of escape, but a return. A return to the self you buried long ago. The self who knows what you need. The self who's been waiting for you to listen.